Hi everyone, Nathan here from Mighty Lancer Games, and we're going to continue our series of 40k intro videos, shall we say, with the Space Marines. So we talked about Chaos Space Marines a couple of weeks ago, and we want to start diving into some of the sub-factions of the Imperium, and we really need to cover off, before we get into that, Space Marines, or like vanilla Space Marines, or just generic Space Marine chapters. So what I thought we'd talk about was how the Space Marines came to pass, and what you can do with them in your army. So let's just move these out of the way and we'll talk a bit about those. So the Space Marines were created by the Emperor of Mankind, we talked about before, when he wanted to lead the Great Crusade out into the stars and recolonize or reintroduce all of the human worlds back into the Imperium of Man. So what he did was he created superhuman warriors, the Primarchs. There was 20 of them, but we had a bit of a hiccup, as Matt had talked about before. So there's 18 eventually, 18 Primarchs who are huge human warriors, easily twice as tall as a man, and these guys are the genetic clone sons of the Emperor himself, and they've all got ever so slightly different traits. Okay, so each one of these was supposed to be the leader of a Space Marine Legion, which are kind of lesser variants of the Primarchs, but still much greater than a regular man. So these, they've got an extra lung, they've got other various genetic modifications to their body. They can spit acid, you know, they're really tall, they're about 8 feet tall, really strong. They wear enhanced powered armor, and they carry huge weapons that would be too heavy for a mortal man to carry. Okay, the Space Marines, they got sent out into the universe with their Primarchs in great fleets that then would find other worlds where human inhabitants had been left through the cold night, or the long night as it becomes known, period of about 10,000 years after space exploration began, and they reintroduced these worlds into the glorious light of the Imperium and unification. Okay, so Space Marines and their armour and their equipment evolve over the 20,000 years as we know it, and now Warhammer 40,000 is set in the 41st millennium, so we've passed quite some time over the course of the game. So over the last 25-30 years that the game's been in development, obviously now we're on the 9th edition of the game, there's been quite a lot of evolution to Space Marines in that time. So let's talk a little bit about where we are with Space Marines. So this is the original Start Collecting Space Marine box, and what you get in here are 10 Space Marines, a tactical squad, because the Space Marine units are organised into squad formations. Okay, so you've got 10 Space Marines there, and the tactical Marines are the backbone of the Space Marine chapter, the legions. Okay, and what you've got on the front here is a Space Marine captain in Terminator armour. So Terminator armour is even heavier armour than the normal powered armour that the Space Marines wear, and it can withstand a lot more damage and has a built-in force field to make it even more resilient. And then at the back here we've got a Dreadnought. So this is a venerable Dreadnought. So this is a wounded Space Marine, because they're so hardcore, they're so difficult to kill. All right, so this is someone maybe his arms and his legs have been blown off in a huge explosion, but he's so single-minded in his hatred of the enemies of the Imperium that he wants to continue fighting. So they inter his body into this sarcophagus here of this huge walking machine, and then he can continue the fight against the enemies of the Emperor. So they're pretty cool. Right, so this is like original Space Marines. So, and then about 4 years ago now, in real time, Games Workshop brought out Primaris Space Marines. So these are even bigger Space Marines. That in the story, a Magos of the Adeptus Mechanicus called Belisarius Call. The story is that one of the Primarchs who's been brought back to life, essentially, Rabute Guliman, I think that's how you pronounce his name, commissioned Belisarius Cawl 10,000 years ago to basically make him a whole new army of Space Marines. And they called them the Primaris Space Marines. And these guys are about a head taller in height than the regular Marines, and they're got even more enhancements. So Belisarius Cawl has enhanced the Emperor's original design and made a whole new raft of Space Marines. So these guys come with a whole new range of kit. And then this is the new Start Collecting Vanguard Space Marines. So these guys are all Primaris Space Marines in a different pattern of armour, the Phobos pattern armour typically, that you can see here. So these guys, there are 10 incursors in this box, I believe. Infiltrators, I do apologise, infiltrators. So these guys are infiltrators, the 10 regular guys, and these are in Phobos pattern armour. There's 3 eliminators, which are also in Phobos pattern armour. So these are scout troops with sniper rifles. You get a lieutenant figure, so he's like a sub-commander of your army, and he gives you various benefits in terms of re-rolls and what have you. And then you've got these 3 guys at the back, which are suppressors, and they're guys with or troopers with jump packs and heavy auto cannons that can give fire support to the rest of your army. Now, out of this particular box, the eliminators and the infiltrators are available as a separate item, but currently this model, the lieutenant and the suppressors, are only available in this product. So there we go. So these are sort of your starting point for your Space Marine army. So we'll just shove those out of the way and then we'll show you something else. But I just want to point out, just after I've shoved them out of the way, that doesn't mean that this is out of date and you shouldn't use it anymore. Because as with anything in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, so long as there are still rules for the models, and these guys are very well catered for in the Codex Space Marine book, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use these just because there's a new box available. It just means that it's what you personally choose is best for your army. So I have a whole army of like the older style Space Marines, the regular Space Marines. The rules have been updated to make them more compatible since the advent of the Primaris Space Marines. So there are no means not a model or an army that you should play with. You should definitely look these guys up because they're excellent, and in terms of game points wise, you do get more for your points with the old style Space Marine, shall we say. So just wanted to clear that up. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of other units that you could add into your army. So first of all, I want to show you a model from my own Space Marine force, which is a Redemptor Dreadnought. So this is a Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. So the Dreadnought that we showed you on the box for the Start Collecting Space Marines, this is Belisarius Cawl's envisioning of the Dreadnought sarcophagus thing. So this is the bit in the middle. This is your sarcophagus as I pointed out on the original model, and this guy obviously comes, or keep calling him guys, this hulking behemoth of destruction comes with a option to give him a great big plasma cannon or a huge Gatling cannon, and then which is a larger version of this one on the other arm, and a power fist there. So this is the Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought that you might see if you go looking up Space Marines on our website at mightylancergames.co.uk. So yeah, this is out of my own army, and I'm particularly pleased with this model. I really like the appearance of it. You can get a good degree of posability with a lot of these figures, and you get a good few options. So I've made it so that I can switch the weapon out if I want to, or you can glue it in place. That's entirely up to you. Oh, and also you can repose them slightly, so I can make it so he's like gunning that guy down over there, or that guy straight in front of him. Yeah, it's perfectly cool. Right, so let's get that out of the way. So these are Mark III Space Marines. So this is a kit that Games Workshop have produced so you can depict your models as older patterns of armour. So typically the Space Marines that you get in the original Start Collecting box. So these Space Marine tactical squad here, they're wearing Mark 7 armour. Okay, and the Space Marines that you might see in the Vanguard Space Marines, they're wearing like Mark 10 and Mark 11 Phobos pattern armour. Okay, but these guys are wearing Mark 3 Iron armour because they've been around for 10,000 years, and they're suitable for use in both Warhammer 40,000 and Forge World's 30,000 rule set, which depicts battles during the Horus Heresy, which I alluded to during our Chaos Space Marine video. Okay, so as with all the kits, these guys come with a variety of weapon options and a couple of different colour schemes that show how some of these armies could be painted for the Horus Heresy. So you may notice that the Thousand Suns depicted here on the back are in the original red armour colour scheme rather than the blue that you see the Thousand Suns in 40k. Okay, so these guys are really cool. The armour style looks awesome. I much prefer the look of the older style armours. I just wish there was more availability of some of the like earlier patterns, but hopefully we'll get there one day. So a couple, I'll show you something else that's a little bit more classic design. This is one of the most iconic Space Marine tanks of all time, the Land Raider. So this is a design that in the background was invented by a chap called Arkan Land, who wanted to build a new battle tank suitable for the Space Marines to go into battle. It's possibly one of the hardest to destroy vehicles in the entire game. It comes with a vast array of weapon options, so you can give it huge flamethrowers, you can give it laser cannons, you can give it like bolt guns that throw down a withering storm of fire as this ramp spews open and your troops come charging out to defeat the enemy. These things are awesome. It's a fantastic kit, and I would definitely encourage you to add one of these to your Space Marine force. And then we've got a couple of newer things. So as I was talking about the Primaris Space Marines, so these are Primaris Intercessors. So these are the kind of like standard Primaris Marines that you may see, and this is a kit that makes 10 guys. These wearing the Mark 10 armour out of the thing, so you get a whole array of heads and arms and different weapon options and what have you in this kit. So they're the kind of new standard, if you like. And then, just for a bit of fun, this kit's attracted quite a bit of interest on the internet. This is the new Primaris Invader ATV. A lot of people say that it looks a little bit like a Mario Kart. All right, but I think it's, the more I see it, the more I think it actually looks pretty cool. Really, I don't know what this guy who's driving it's going to feel like after this huge Gatling cannon's being fired over the top of his head. But he's wearing a helmet. He should have sound deafening earphones in there, shouldn't he? But you can build this with one or two options. So this Gatling cannon option again, or a huge multi-melter, which is an anti-tank weapon designed to melt the armour of heavily armoured vehicles and opponents. All right. So the idea of this is that it'll drive at high speed around the battlefield and get the heavy weapon to the most required point on the battlefield. So it's caused a little bit of fun. You might have seen a couple of memes flying around online about these things, but in terms of price, points wise and actual pounds to buy, these are great value. And this is one of the easy to build kits that Games Workshop have started producing now, so you don't actually need to use any glue to put this thing together. You can just have it push fit and then get on straight on painting it, which is pretty awesome. Cool. So Space Marines are possibly one of the most tactically diverse armies that there are in Warhammer 40,000. It's certainly one of the largest, if not the largest, Warhammer 40,000 range that Games Workshop produce, just because there are so many kits available for the older pattern Marines. So you've got assault squads, tactical squads, devastator squads, terminator squads, and then a variety of sub-variants of each of those. There are quite a lot of tanks available. So there's the Vindicator tank, which is a squat tank with a huge dozer blade and a massive demolition cannon on the front of it. We have the Whirlwind, which is basically the same chassis but with a huge rocket launcher mounted. There's all sorts of variants across the Space Marine range, from lightly armoured to heavily armoured. So whatever your playing style, Space Marines could well be the army for you. So I'm going to round it up there because I've waffled long enough. Hopefully you found this video useful. You can pick up all these products over at our website, mightylancergames.co.uk. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'd like to keep bringing you more informative content. And if you've got any comments and you'd like to see particular videos in future, then please give us a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and sorry for waffling at you.